Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. You know, I've been thinking a lot lately about something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's this question of, can a leader really balance, modernizing their nation,
Right.
but at the same time preserving, their cultural identity?
Yeah.
It's tricky.
It's a tough one.
And to really dive into this, we're going to take a look at King Jigme Khesar Namgyel Wangchuck of Bhutan.
Okay.
He's often called, the people's king.
Interesting.
And, yeah, it's a fascinating case study.
Yeah, Bhutan's incredible, right? Nestled in the Himalayas, known for the landscape and, their commitment to this whole gross national happiness thing.
Right.
But it's also a country that's modernizing really rapidly.
Yeah.
So how does the king, navigate those two things?
Right, because they almost seem like they'd be in conflict. And, the excerpts that you sent over, they're packed with examples of his initiatives across, every sector you can imagine.
I bet.
But it's not even just what he's doing. It's how he's doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, so get this.
Okay.
After a major earthquake, this guy was found in the kitchen.
No way.
Yeah, cooking meals for the students who had been, affected by the earthquake.
Wow, that's pretty powerful.
Right.
Yeah, like a symbol of how connected he is to the people.
Yeah.
It goes way beyond policy.
Totally.
He's right there on the ground,
Yeah.
showing how committed he is to their well-being.
And that personal touch, it's woven into everything.
It seems like it.
Right. It's whether it's, overseeing COVID relief efforts.
Right.
Or providing vitamin supplements.
Wow.
Or even just giving gifts to people.
That's amazing.
It's clear he's not just a figurehead. He's really involved.
And that connection, I think it's really deeply rooted in Bhutanese culture.
I bet.
He embodies in a lot of ways their values, which are, at the heart of this whole gross national happiness philosophy.
Okay, so you've mentioned this a couple times now. What exactly is gross national happiness?
It's funny. It really challenges our traditional ideas of progress.
Okay.
Instead of focusing on just economic stuff like GDP,
right?
Bhutan really prioritizes the holistic well-being of its people.
Oh, interesting.
Like mental health, environmental sustainability, cultural preservation, all of that.
So it's not just about economic growth.
No.
It's about creating a society where people can really thrive.
Exactly.
I like that.
And the King's initiatives seem to reflect that.
At every level.
Yeah.
So, what would be a good example of that?
Take the D-Sun program, for example.
Oh, yeah. This one really stood out to me.
Yeah.
He's training citizens to be guardians of peace.
I know.
That's so clever.
It's a really unique approach to national security.
Right.
Instead of just relying on the military, he's empowering the people to protect the nation and, preserve their cultural heritage.
And it seems like a win-win. Because it's fostering the sense of civic duty, strengthening the community bonds, giving people valuable skills.
Totally.
It's so different from a lot of countries.
It really is.
Which have these really militaristic approaches.
Yeah. It's a reflection of their unique situation, I think.
Yeah.
Sandwiched between India and China.
Right.
Powerful nations.
Yeah.
They've chosen this path of peace.
Yeah.
Prioritizing diplomacy and preserving their culture.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
We've got this unique cultural backdrop.
Right.
And we've got this leader who's clearly so connected to the people.
Yeah.
So how does that actually play out,
Yes.
In concrete action?
Good question.
Let's look at some of these initiatives. Let's start with democratic consolidation.
Right.
So despite being a monarchy, he's really been instrumental in strengthening their democratic institutions.
Interesting.
Yeah. Ensuring free and fair elections. Setting up a system of checks and balances. I mean, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
From what I read, he's been really focused on empowering election commission and the judiciary, making sure that they're independent and transparent.
Oh, important.
Yeah, he gets that a healthy democracy.
Yeah.
It needs more than just elections.
Right.
It needs strong institutions
Exactly.
that are going to uphold the rule of law, protect everyone's rights.
It's foundational.
Okay, but a country can't survive on just democracy, right?
That's true.
What about the economic side of things?
Well, Bhutan faces some unique challenges there.
Like what?
It's landlocked.
Okay.
Limited natural resources.
Right.
Relatively small population.
Yeah.
But the king's been really proactive
Okay.
in promoting sustainable economic growth.
Like how?
Well, one example is this thing called the Bhutan Economic Forum for Innovative Transformation.
What?
Yeah.
BFIT.
BFIT, that's what they call it.
It sounds like it's straight out of Silicon Valley.
It kind of is.
Nice the story there.
Yeah, it's all about like fostering this culture of innovation.
Okay.
And entrepreneurship.
So instead of just relying on those like traditional industries, he's trying to diversify.
Yeah.
And really tap into like the tech world.
Exactly.
Cedar Starts, all of that.
And it's working.
Really?
Uh-huh. They're all these Bhutanese tech companies.
Wow.
Focusing on things like sustainable tourism.
Okay.
Renewable energy.
So they're using tech.
Yeah.
To preserve the environment and their culture, but also, you know, creating new opportunities.
It's pretty amazing.
It is. It's like weaving that technology into their traditional values.
Yeah.
It's not just about like blindly adopting everything new.
No.
It's about finding solutions that fit their vision.
Exactly.
That gross national happiness.
And speaking of which,
yeah,
the King's social initiatives, they're like a perfect example.
Okay, let's talk about... I was so impressed by the Gyaltshab program for youth.
For youth.
It provides like vocational training, leadership development, and even opportunities for community service.
It's like an investment in the future.
Totally.
Isn't it?
Yeah, they're equipping these young people with the skills and values they need to really thrive.
To be successful and happy.
And that's ensuring the long-term well-being of Bhutanese society.
Thinking ahead.
Smart.
And it's not just about the youth.
Oh, right.
He's got programs for senior citizens, too.
Oh, wow.
You know, recognizing their contributions. Making sure they're doing okay.
So it's like creating a society where everyone feels valued.
Everyone.
No matter what their age is.
It's really a holistic approach.
You know, it's easy to get swept up in all this, like, positive stuff.
Yeah.
But are there any downsides? That's a good question.
To this approach, it can't be all sunshine and rainbows.
Right. Is it all perfect in Bhutan?
Well, no system is perfect. There are always challenges.
Okay.
Some critics say that this whole gross national happiness thing, it can overshadow other things.
Like what?
Economic growth, for example. Okay. Or, you know, technological advancement.
It's tough to find that balance.
It is a balancing act.
Right, like walking a tightrope.
Totally.
Modernizing, but not losing.
Right.
What makes Bhutan unique?
Exactly. And then there's the question of like... inclusivity.
Okay.
So the goal is for everyone to benefit.
Right.
But, you know, making sure it reaches everyone.
Yeah.
Especially in remote areas.
Right.
That could be really tough.
But it seems like the king's really trying.
He is. He's constantly engaging with the people.
Right. Like, remember those stories about him visiting the remote villages and really listening to people's concerns?
That's key to his leadership.
Yeah.
By being accessible and responding to the people's needs.
Right.
He can make sure things are actually working.
And that they're equitable.
Right. Fairness is crucial.
Okay, so we've covered a lot.
We have.
We've seen how he's balancing modernization with preserving their cultural identity, how he's promoting both economic growth and social well-being.
So impressive.
But what can we, the listeners, take away from all of this?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Like, what makes his leadership style so effective?
Well, I think there are a few key things.
Okay.
First, his compassion.
Yeah.
And empathy. It's like in everything he does.
Totally. From cooking those meals to visiting people during the pandemic.
It's genuine.
And it's not just about showing up. It's about understanding people's experiences.
Their struggles.
Their hopes.
Yeah, their aspirations.
And that leads to the second thing.
Okay.
Leading by example.
He doesn't just talk the talk.
He walks the walk.
Right. He lives it.
Like when he was on the front lines. Yeah.
During COVID.
Making sure people were safe.
Providing relief.
Taking care of the animals even.
Wow. He sets the bar high.
He does.
And that inspires others.
To do the same.
And a third thing.
Yeah.
He's focused on the long term.
Not just the quick wins.
The long-term well-being of Bhutan.
Sustainability.
Yeah.
Future generations.
Creating a legacy.
Of happiness and prosperity.
That long-term vision seems to be everywhere.
It does.
Investing in education, promoting renewable energy.
Strengthening their democracy.
It's a real contrast to a lot of leaders today.
Who are just focused on the short term.
So what does this mean for our listeners?
Good question.
How can we apply these lessons?
To our own lives.
Our work.
Our communities.
Maybe it starts with being more compassionate.
More empathetic.
Yeah.
In our interactions.
Maybe it means leading by example.
Setting a positive tone.
at work,
in our communities.
We're shifting our focus
from just the short-term gains to the long-term impact.
What kind of world do we want to leave behind?
It's a good question.
Leadership isn't just for kings and presidents.
Right.
It's something we can all do.
You know, this whole deep dive, it's really got me thinking differently.
Oh, yeah?
About leadership, you know?
No way.
It's not just about power. It's not just about authority.
Right.
It's about service. It's about compassion.
Yeah.
It's about a real commitment to other people.
To their well-being.
Exactly. And, you know...
It really shows you that leadership, it goes beyond just titles.
Totally.
It's about the impact you make.
What stood out to you the most?
Honestly, it's his commitment to gross national happiness.
You know, it's so interesting.
In a world that's obsessed with, like, economic growth,
right?
He's doing something totally different.
Yeah.
He's putting happiness first.
Yeah, and the well-being of his people.
And preserving their culture.
It makes you question our priorities a little bit, doesn't it?
It does.
Like, are we too focused on GDP and stuff?
It's easy to get caught up in that.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think he's making a strong case.
Yeah.
For a different approach.
Yeah.
A more holistic approach.
You know, he's showing that you can have economic growth.
Right.
But also preserve your heritage.
Protect the environment.
Make sure people are happy.
It's inspiring.
Yeah. It's not just talk.
Yeah.
He's actually doing it.
Through those initiatives.
Right. The Desung program.
Yeah.
The Ala.
Social program.
He's really amazing.
He has a vision.
Yeah.
And he's making it a reality.
Okay, I have one last question.
Okay.
If you could ask him one question about the future of Bhutan.
Oh, that's a tough one.
What would it be?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I think I'd ask him what advice he'd give to young people.
Oh, wow.
You know, all around the world.
Yeah.
Who want to make a difference.
Because he's seen it all, right?
He's faced challenges.
Yeah.
He's had successes.
He's learned so much.
I bet his answer would be incredible.
Well, folks, that brings us to the end of our deep dive.
Into the leadership of the King of Bhutan.
We've explored his unique approach.
To modernization.
To preserving culture.
To gross national happiness.
It's really amazing.
And the actions he's taking.
To create a better world.
A more just world.
A more sustainable world.
We hope you learned something.
Yeah, and that you're feeling inspired.
To make a difference.
Remember, leadership, it's not just for kings.
It's for all of us.
So go out there and make a difference.
Until next time.
Keep diving deep.